Wow. Okay, let's wait for everyone. Okay, so greetings, everyone. Okay, let's wait. They're coming in. Keep coming. All right, let's get started. Greetings, our audience. Greetings, our panelists. My name is Lingi Tao. I'm very happy to have you here. I am the Communications Director for GatherVerse, and we will be talking about future-proofing the workforce, integrating AI. I'm not alone. With me is a group of expert panelists who are going to help us uncover this topic. I will ask my panelists to introduce themselves very briefly, and I will start with you, Davona May, and then we will pass it up to the top. Davona, the stage is yours.
Hello, everybody. My name is Devana May. I am an award-winning.
Okay, we can't hear you. Davona, we lost you. Okay, Arjit, please take it over.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Very good morning, afternoon, evening, based on your time zones. I am Arijit Goswami. I work as a senior associate with a research consultancy firm. I've got around 8 to 10 years of experience in the technology industry space with specific focus now on the AI ethics and governance. Well, as an apart from my day job, I also happen to conduct independent research on the intersection of AI, society, and education, and have published and also presented a number of papers in several conferences before. So, really looking forward to sharing all the insights with you and learning from all of you. Back to you, Lynn.
Welcome. Okay, welcome. Navya?
Hello, everyone. My name is Navya Alapati. I work as a senior software engineer for Visa, and I have about 8+ years of experience now, working specialized mostly on the data management and data analytics. I have been recently introduced to AI with my projects leading to AI within data analytics. So getting attached with that. And I guess, again, I have been working on my research for the past 2.5 years now and have, like Arijit, published several papers with my professors. I am really looking forward for the discussion and sharing my insights too.
Thank you. Brian? Okay, we lost him. Mirjana, I hope I pronounced it right. Please go, Mirjana. Yeah, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. Okay, we seem not to hear her. Mike, could you kindly introduce yourself?
Is my mic working?
Yes, your
Good.
mic is working.
That's good. That seems to plague us today. My name is Mike Mongo. I'm an astronaut teacher. I'm based here in Cape Canaveral. I work part-time in the UK. I've been working with AI since 2019. And my first neural network was a commercial product called Vote Flipper, which used a softmax function to discern convertible voters from public-facing information. And then I got to working as an astronaut teacher here at Kennedy Space Center. I got to do zero-G training with Bina 48, the first humanoid robot AI to train as an astronaut. And that led to a variety of conversations I've been having with AI for 1.5 years now, I guess maybe 2 years, since November of 2022. And my friend David Lockett let me know this was taking place and invited me to participate.
Wow, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Lynn.
You're welcome. Rubiani, I hope I pronounced that right.
Thanks, Lynn. It's Rubini, and I'm really glad to be here with all of us in this panel. I'm the Chief Success Officer or CEO of Xfinity SG, and I lead a team who does leadership development for founders, CEOs, leadership, to really go on journeys to understand how they can be better for their teams in their lives and power themselves with holistic success. And we do this through AI tools. This has been done over the last 3 years with my team, and we give them intuition as a superpower. And I'm looking forward to the discussion today.
We are happy to have you. Ilenda.
Hi, good morning. It's Alita. Thank you for having me. Thanks to GatherVerse for putting this on. I've sat in quite a few of these live panel discussions, and I think that they're hugely educational. I love that they involve people from all over the world. I myself have been doing consulting for over 13 years now, primarily in business, but a huge chunk of this came about during the pandemic, and I had clients who were in the medical field in the city of New York. And so when everybody else went dormant, I got super, super busy. And to say the least, conscious leadership came to the forefront for me because I felt as though all the conscious development I had done throughout my entire life literally came into play in those moments in time. And so, Mike, super interesting because some of my favorite clients are aerospace engineers that I've worked with, and so that whole aspect is near and dear to my heart because I connect the sciences into the equation of conscious leadership development. So, what do I mean by that? Neuroscience is massively important, and the understanding of that and our operations, how we work and function operationally as a human being plays a massive role in all of this. And so I look forward to just engaging and continuing conversation today. Thanks.
Well, you're in the right place. Davona.
Are you all able to hear me this time?
Yes, you're
Perfect.
gone.
Thank you. So my name is Devonna May. I am an award-winning entrepreneur. I am a brand strategist, a marketing developer, and I'm also the creator of It Girl GPT. I've used AI and various forms of technology to integrate it into my personal businesses to help accelerate and expand my brands and others onto global stages. So I am an advocate for the good use of AI. I know how beneficial it has been in connecting me to communities and opportunities that I would not have the opportunity to have connected with if it weren't for the digital reach of technology. So I'm here as an instructor, an educator, and an advocate to help people to create custom tech stacks or just custom pathways to utilize AI and to really become comfortable with it, to understand it, so they can integrate it into their now, because it is truly it's our future, and we all need to be able to adapt to it. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Mijana, I hope I pronounced it right.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, great. So I'm very excited to be here today and discuss different aspects of integrating AI into workforce. My name is Mirjana Bobar. I'm from Belgrade, Serbia, and coming from Jazz Communication Consultancy, where I work as a multimedia designer. But since I have some project experience and IT background, I'm like an inside consultant for integrating AI into business, our business.
Okay, welcome. Brian, you're next.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm Brian Juracek, the founder and CEO of Parallel Worlds. We're an immersive social media platform that operates on a digital twin of Earth. So we're helping individuals and businesses deploy, manage, and monetize immersive media content with geolocational precision anywhere on Earth. And then we mirror that across to a VR layer environment. So you have a collaborative sandbox environment for people to interact, co-create, and collaborate. So that's what we do. I'm a lifelong artist, really stemming from music. I'm a drummer, but in the pandemic, I kind of went to my physical hand when a lot of the music venues shut down. So a lot of what I do is what I would call creative technology. I try to creatively problem solve. And a lot of what people have discussed today is the broader theme of these are tools, right? So we're the most important thing, and our responsible usage of these tools is how we get to a better tomorrow. So thanks for having me, guys.
Fantastic. Thank you for all being here, and we are going to get started. So, Lindell, I'm going to put you on the first spot, and I want you to help us understand how can organizations balance the integration of AI to augment human capabilities and mitigate job displacement. Lindell.
Are you talking?
Yeah. Yeah.
No worries. The question one more time was, how do we mitigate job
the ones on the screen. How can organizations balance the integration of AI to augment human capabilities and mitigate job displacement?
Oh, yes. Okay. So training and education. So there has to be a massive push for training and education. The teams, anytime we're going to be pulling AI into a work environment or workforce, we need to be essentially engaging our entire team. We need to be involving all of them in the decision-making process, especially anything that's going to touch or impact their specific department. I think that, the more that we realize when we involve what's the word I'm looking for? Adoption, group education, the fact that people who, when they come in and they're allowed to give their input, right? It doesn't all just have to spill from leadership down. The more that we involve everybody who this impacts, the better the decisions will be made. And we need to be looking at compliance and guardrails for how we apply all of these things. So I think that, when it comes to displacement, the more that people understand that they embrace this and they work with it, this has to have a human touch. The human factor cannot go away. The more that we use it, the more of us that are using it, the more we realize that we have to have the human factor in the equation, because when we don't, the information is not accurate.
Definitely. The human factor. Actually, what we emphasize here at GatherVerse is humanity first. Our conversations are always centered around humanity first. And I want to go to you, Mijana. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If I'm not, kindly forgive me. We all agree that the astronomical
It's Miriana. It's Miriana. Yeah, but it's okay.
It's okay. So AI is advancing at a very astronomical rate, and we can all agree on that. I want you to help us understand as well, how can organizations stay ahead of AI trends and prepare for the impacts for their jobs?
Yeah, I was thinking about that, and it's definitely necessary that they follow, monitor trends on the market, maybe investing in new technologies early. They need to already use AI to support their decision-making process, because this would give them advantage, they perceive markets on the shift faster, and they're capable of replying to these shifts and stay competitive. It's also very needed to involve employees, to educate them, to keep them adaptable and open to process of continuous learning.
Definitely. I see you agreeing to that, Brian, which brings me to the next question to you. How can leaders use AI to gain long-term competitive edge in an evolving business environment? I see you're very keen on the pursuit of helping business maximize profit. Please just show us the way. Tell us what you think on how to maximize profit as well as have a competitive edge.
Yeah, well, everything everyone's mentioned, using the tools on a daily basis, getting involved, actually practicing, right? I've heard many people talk about these things, and then I've asked, well, how many times have you logged in and used it or done it? Or, and a lot of times people, well, never. Well, how would you know how? So practicing it and, as previously stated, fostering a culture amongst your employees to remain, active and involved and elastic to an ever-changing technology landscape. But as far as monetization, intellectual property is king. And over the past couple decades, a lot of companies have choked off their intellectual property, and they've kind of been in this sense of I own it, and you can't touch it. And they need to get more comfortable with actually sharing the meme, right? The meme becomes more valuable as it's shared. And so we're moving to a state where hopefully we're building infrastructure where companies and individuals can co-create and collaborate and share intellectual property at the speed in which it wants to be shared. And business will flourish with that type of environment. So it's a lot of learning, and it's almost a paradigm shift from a marketing and advertising paradigm to more of a value add one. And that will bring new and exciting socioeconomic business models that will be far more sustainable and will waste less.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree on that. Ruby, you seem to be resonating with what he is saying. Do you feel like you want to add a perspective to that?
Yes, certainly, Lynn. Thank you. I didn't know how to unmute myself for a while, but I think one of the things that we need to make sure of is this understanding that it's enhancing human capabilities, right? So when we're combining AI insights with human intuition, and I'm big on intuition as a superpower, and when we're combining them both, it leads to innovation, it leads to creativity. So we're using AI to amplify our human capabilities and not replace them, which is what the earlier question was about as well in terms of displacement. So the real edge comes from enhancing decision making, streamlining operations, and truly becoming more customer centric in the business environment, so that the customer goes up, the teams through humanity are empowered and evolved, and through innovation and this spirit of experimentation, everyone just rises together. So I love that togetherness in amplifying AI and humanity.
Yeah, please. I love that perspective. And I see, Mariana, you want to jump into this.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
go ahead.
Well, leaders, it's for them necessary if they want to lead the team, and if they need to have a vision, and they need to have a people skills, so they can help their employees through this transition. Also, they need to be aware of strategic possibilities of implementing AI. So, not just using them as a band aid to fix some gaps or certain processes, but to be aware of the overall value that it can bring. Scalability to their products, that it can manage risks, that it brings in innovation to a company, which is also valuable when, for example, companies to be sold. So leaders do need people skills. They need to have a vision. They need to also have technical understanding of their basic technological infrastructure of their company, so they can make informed decisions about AI.
Definitely, people first. I totally agree with the people skills, especially in an age where technology is taking a lot of what we are doing. Building up on leadership still, I want to come to you, Davona. You're very keen on market trends, and I think you're the best person to answer this. What skills do leaders need now and in the future to guide their teams through AI integration?
The key is patience and support and compassion. When employees know that AI is there to support them instead of replace them, that gives them a sense of security and mental well-being, because there's already so much overwhelm in the workplace where employees are feeling like their jobs are unstable, that they can be replaced anytime, and now they can be replaced by technology. So when we educate them and when we take the time to address those fears, perhaps bringing in growth mindset coaches or having group meetings where we're getting to know our employees again, where we're getting to know what their perspectives are, what their cultural references are, what their actual skill sets are. That AI and the new technology is a way to really reconnect the human bond. And so when we allow them to realize the benefits that AI will have in helping them to manage their workflows, to make their days more efficient, whether it be with researching, writing, content creation, um, drafting, scheduling, automation. These are the things that leaders need to emphasize, that mostly it's here to help you, to support you, not to replace you. And we understand your resistance, we understand your fear, and we even understand the fact that you may be willing to adopt this into your day to day, but you may not feel confident or capable of doing so. So this is where leaders need to step up and be not an out or overlord presence, but a right there with you, I'm in it with you type of a leader. So
I totally agree on that. When it comes to, I think leaders need to reframe the whole concept of AI, because people think it's here to replace me. But when we reframe it to it's here to help me, I think that's where the real deal or the real potential of AI is explored in the workforce. I want to come to you, Ajit. Uh, you are more into the technical side of things, and I want you to maybe help us or guide us in this. How can organizations integrate AI, taking into account the culture and the technological advancements that comes with this?
Sure. So again, in this globalized world, I think almost everyone in the organizations are working with a multicultural team, which requires people to not only have technical skills, but also a lot of soft skills or professional skills to deal with the, I would say, ambiguities and the, I would say, the cultural nuances that exist in the organization. Now, this is where in our organization, as in the one that I have been working with, we had devised a 5E framework, as in E's, right? The fifth letter of English, a 5E framework by which we say that the first E basically stands for empathy. As in every manager, whenever they are implementing an AI system, they need to have empathy towards the people who are going to get impacted by it. It can be the subordinates, it can be the seniors, it can be the manager himself or herself, right? So that empathy is the first E that a manager needs to have even before thinking what kind of application the AI can have. The second is the emotional intelligence, to understand what kind of impact psychologically, mentally, an AI system would have on the stakeholders, which again means the employees in the workplace and so on. Once the empathy and ethics are in place, the next thing which should happen is basically the experimentation. Now, there are multiple AI applications available in the market, multiple use cases, multiple possibilities, as well as perils which can arise. A person or any manager or any leader in an organization, before they integrate AI, they should experiment with a number of applications, a number of AI tools to see what kind of impact is each having on the workforce. The fourth one basically is the evaluation, which again comes to two parts, right? One is evaluation through impact assessment, which means we have a framework where we where we fill the check boxes as to what is the impact that AI is having on the workforce. The second is the intuition part, which I think one of the panelists also covered very, very correctly, that intuition should also be a part of evaluation about the AI. And once that has been done, only then the deployment of AI should happen, and then continuous assessments should keep happening. So this is the framework through which if a leader goes or if an organization goes, they will be able to take care of not only the cultural nuances or the technological aspects, but also the interrelationships that the leaders have or that the stakeholders in the workforce have. So I would suggest that that 5E framework is one of the resilient frameworks that we can use for checking the technological and cultural nuances.
Wow, that's very insightful. I love the framework. And Lyndall, do you want to jump into this? Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So it's Alita. The last name is Lindahl. So when it comes to the emotional intelligence factor, that's really where I want to jump in on this, because I believe that, you know, Amy Blankson, I think her name was, just before this, was speaking and kind of chimed in on it too. And so the emotional intelligence of the leaders, I think this will shed light, shall we say, right, on an overall whole. I think it'll bring about more cultural well-roundedness, because I think it will give us the capability to understand our cultural differences and our cultural background differences as well. But more importantly, on that golden thread of that note is, how are we the same? How is it that we as human beings are all the same? That is our golden thread, right? The commonality, and finding that in our teams and in our team development, I believe can happen at a much more rapid rate than it has in the past with AI on board. I think it's going to really shed light on a lot of things for us, and it's going to allow us to pivot and change our conscious mindset in ways that we never have before. So what do I mean by that? I mean, we have a habit. Our brain is so amazing, our bodies are so amazing, that we fall into subconscious thought patterns. That means, like, I think the ratios are coming up like 95% of the time, as high as 95% of the time, we're in repeat thoughts and loop tapes, basically running our day the same as it was the day before without even thinking about it, because our miraculous brain will do that for us, right? So it's like when we first learn to drive a car, we're hyper aware. We pay attention to everything that we're doing and we're learning. But once we learn how to drive a car, now my brain can grocery shop, right? Run through my grocery list while I'm driving down the road. So I speculate that we've had like repeats in history and historical events because we haven't known how our bodies operate. The fact that if we become conscious for more prolonged periods of time while we're developing and using AI, which again, I think will bring to light, oh, is this an old pattern? Are these old ways of doing business? And is there a better way, right? And highlighting those better ways for us. New choices, new decisions. History doesn't have to repeat itself. We can pop out of that loop tape and we can actually evolve at a faster rate.
Yeah, building on that perspective and the whole culture thing, I want to come to you, Ruby. How can businesses build a culture that supports successful AI integration and a positive work environment? Is it the same? Okay.
I love this question because I talk a lot about creating a psychologically safe environment. And when we talk about a psychologically safe environment, especially with AI being more immersive and coming up and being integrated within the organization, we need to think about building an AI positive culture, so AI plus. And this starts with transparency. This starts with inclusion. I think Arjit and Davona also mentioned things around empathy, things around emotional quotient and emotional intelligence. And in this vein, when leaders communicate openly about the role, and it's really not about surprising people with things. I think sometimes leaders go, hey, let's keep this in the box and then let's just surprise everyone and everyone's going to be happy. It actually doesn't really work that way. When leaders are more transparent and communicate openly, and take guidance from different levels in the organization. So surveys, focus groups, one-on-one discussions, involving employees in that integration process, then everyone positively in an AI plus environment can celebrate this AI human collaboration successes, right? And it all starts with creating a psychologically safe environment where the team and the people throughout the organization feel valued, feel empowered. And AI is an upskill. AI is an empowerment. And then again, your first question, it's not about displacement. And so with that viewpoint, I think an AI positive culture can start.
That's very insightful. I want us to shift gears to the educational sides of things. And Mike, we have you here as an educationist, and you teach you're an astronaut teacher. I want you to help us. Maybe just tell us, how can business collaborate with educational institutions and AI experts to upskill their workforce?
Okay, so here's why this is a great question for everybody. It's for everybody here to have the answer to, is because at NASA there's a little known secret, and that's whenever we want to solve a really challenging problem, one that everybody says is unsolvable or that we don't have any idea how to accomplish it. One that comes to mind is asteroid mining. That's something that has been talked about for a couple decades now. And when we find these moments and situations, and there's a bunch right now with AI, what we'll do, or what NASA does, is creates a contest for students to solve the challenge without telling them that it's hard. It's one of my favorite things in the entire world. It tickles me just sharing it with you, because it's kind of a scam, you know. Like they get patches and stickers and they come up with the best ideas in the entire world, because they're not limited by ROI. They're not limited by bills and payments that are their payroll. They just team up, group up, and put their minds together in that way that we love when it happens organically. All of us here do. And then they come up with the most amazing suggestions. So industry and commerce has the opportunity to do this all the time. Like here in Cape Canaveral, it's in Florida, and there is a huge, I don't know if everybody knows this, but there's a giant citrus disease crisis happening in the state of Florida. It's decreased the amount of citrus in the state by, I think, 20 times since 92. And it's this thing called, I think it's called greening. And there are some very smart people working on it. It's something that happens as a consequence of this insect that lives on the trees. And California is working to keep it outside of California, keep it from entering into California. And right now they're creating these sort of challenges, the exact same model, presenting to middle grade and secondary high school students, these challenges that instructors, professors, professionals like ourselves get to present and offer as an opportunity to solve, and with prizes, you know, scholarships and things like that. And it's terrific. So it's a real simple play. Like, I think when it comes to anything from social media and any new technology, really, younger people, students in particular, are fearless first adopters.
Yeah.
I know there's a Snapchat platform that has a built-in AI that students will just have conversations with, and that is, it's a gateway for them. It opens up other opportunities to explore, and then they get to find other free and open AI that they can have conversations with, and also leads to tools. Like, there's different we have different ideas and expectations, or considerations, or we have there's different AI that do different things, and there's different things that we call AI, and it can just be an amalgamation of like a grouping of algorithms, and we can call it an AI, and it's effectively true. But then there's this more sophisticated AI that we talk about. They can just be simple tools like generative AI, and then there's the conversational AI that is likenable to a peer, a work peer, a work associate, and developing relationship with these figures.
Thank you, Mike.
Oh, well, one second, Lynn, if I may. Arjit mentioned empathy, and I saw Devana land on it as well. Bring it, I think, first. And it is, when I'm working with students and peer professionals with AI that is conversational, for instance.
Okay, we lost him. Maybe I jump to you, Ajit, and I want you to really demystify what role does feedback, or how can organizations gather employee feedback on AI integrations, relevance, and effectiveness? And anyone can really jump on this if you have any experience with getting feedback from whatever angle you're coming in from. So I'll start with you, Ajit, then I'll come to you, Ruby. I see you raising your hand. So, Ajit.
Sure. So I'll just quickly give an example of, I would say, an activity that I had done in one of my previous organizations as a senior innovation manager. So we thought of how we can democratize the access and the application of AI in the organization. And when we talk about democratizing, we thought, how can we make AI for the people, by the people, and of the people? Basically, the basic definition of democracy, right? And I think that the one of the best ways to for organizations basically to gather employee feedback on AI integration and see its effectiveness is to first of all allow the, I would say, employees to design or to think about the use cases or think about the ideas that they can bring to table, which will not only help the organization but will also make AI safe for themselves. I would like to give an example, or I would like to give a reference of what Mike said, that whenever some solution has to be found, they used to invite the students to share their ideas. That is one very good way to ensure that people participate in the process of AI development. Now, I understand that the question is regarding feedback, so I'm coming to that as well. What I would say is that once these solutions have been developed and deployed, we should take continuous feedback, I would say, in the form of anonymous surveys or even in the way of, I would say, skip level meetings. So because sometimes employees may not be willing to share their feedback with their direct managers, but they may be more comfortable in case their opinions are masked or if they are anonymized or if they can talk directly to, say, a CXO level person where they can share their concerns or their insights about the AI applications. So when they get to share their insights or when they get to share their concerns, that is when AI becomes of the people. And then again, when I say collecting feedback, it should happen not just through one forum or one channel, it should happen through multiple channels. It can be a verbal feedback, it can be a non-verbal feedback, it can be a pulse survey, it can be a, I would say, and it can be just it just can be a slip or a sticky note dropped in a box. Not every employee would be able to share their ideas in a single channel, right? So we have to open multiple channels. And finally, once the suggestions have been taken note of, once they have been noted, the organization should also communicate to the employees how the organization is working on the feedback. And out of all the feedback that they have received, for example, 10 comments that they have received, which are being prioritized, which are not being which are being deprioritized, and which are more important or feasible for the organization to work on. And this basically touches upon the aspects of openness that somebody again touched upon. And I think in the previous session also, Amy was also talking about openness and transparency. Collecting feedback is just one thing. Communicating that we are working on the feedback and explaining how the work is being done, I think, is the third step that we should take in terms of democratizing the deployment of AI. Uh,
I would
I-
just add one slight thing. This is an iteration process. Like you
Yep.
get feedback, then you improve the process, then you again get the feedback, improve the process. So it's not a one-time communication. Besides, I mean, I have experience with market research. Besides this service, anonymous survey, which are very handy and can show employees' frustrations, maybe fears, concerns. You can also use one-to-one conversations, focus groups, team meetings, and all these things are very useful in collecting feedback. But this is definitely a process because it should be constantly ongoing.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that insight. Because we're running out of time, I'll be a little bit quick on this, and I'm going to go to you, Brian. What future AI advancements might the workforce, and how should we organizations prepare?
Mike had a great point on this. There's a lot of different types of AI out there. So a lot of what we see is kind of generative AI and using AI for aesthetic, kind of artistic things day to day in social media. But there's a lot of different ways that AI will parse through huge data sets and be used in concert with quantum computing to crack like mathematical codes that will solve disease and very important things in decades to come. But social media, which is why I started a social media company, it's not because I want to start a social media company. It's where everybody is all day doing the wrong things. And the wrong things are leading to the wrong outcomes. And we need to retool that behavior. And so we need to turn an AI powered toolkit, right? Loose on the populace to be able to creatively and functionally govern their life in this new spatial transformation. So it was discussed before that change management was the big failure in digital transformation. It was treated as an IT problem, and it was actually something that affected the entire organization. And if we're moving into the age of spatial transformation and immersive technologies, where we're going to visualize a lot of things that have been in ones and zeros, it's going to emotionally tie us in a much different way to each other and how we express each other, express ideas with each other and communicate. So we need to get to much more healthier ways of communicating. And social media is a great place to catch and make the snake eat its own tail. Right. So I think it's being open and elastic to an ever-changing technology landscape, using the tools, practicing with the tools, and as mentioned earlier, having good vision. Leadership needs to have good vision. And that's not asking the question, what is it? It's saying, what will we make of it? Right. And remaining in a constant state of that and not kind of pushing the fear away. Right.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. How can we make the best out of this? I see Linda agreeing to this. Do you want to jump in on that? Please go ahead.
Yeah, so my thought automatically goes to kind of back to, the fear that people have around this. And it almost makes me kind of chuckle because I think that as people grow more conscious and as we use everything, the technology more, right? Robotics is on our heels, quantum computing, Brian, like you said, like I don't think there's a person alive on the face of the planet who truly understands what the impact of quantum is going to mean to us, right? In that aspect and that capacity. So the thing is I think once we start to understand again who we are a little bit better and understand that all of this technology has essentially been made to mimic our own human capabilities, right? From our brain's capability and standpoint, computers have been designed and replicated to mimic our own capability for ever since the inception of the computer. So really, when we start to understand that and we start to understand that we have all of these same capacities, that now we're just basically being given outside tools and resources to match up with us, then I think that it makes things a lot less scary and more just we need to take more ownership in who we are and the future of what we're designing on an overall whole, right? We just need to take ownership in who we are and what we're doing.
Definitely. Ownership, ownership, ownership. And this is our final question, and I want to address it to you, Davona. What future governance challenges could AI integration present, and how can they be addressed? And anyone who would like to also contribute to this topic, you also need to contribute to that. Davona.
Yeah, I just want people to feel empowered again. There is this disconnect in between what we're capable of doing. We are the ones who created the technology. We're the ones who manage it. We are the ones who teach it, program it. And so we are the ones who are essentially directing its future. We are in charge of it. It is not in charge of us. So I want people to just, first of all, take their power back and allow themselves to become active participants in the creation of it. Especially those who feel marginalized and who are marginalized by it, those who feel prejudiced by it, those who feel like the prompts or the outputs are not representative of their experiences. They need to raise their voices and get on the teaching side of it, become educated about the technologies, enjoy the technologies, but also use their voices and their experiences to make AI more inclusive, more fair. It's not enough to just critique it or to sit back and be afraid of it, but we have to be involved in the process of creating the change that we want to see. So really, mindset change and also holding AI accountable, which means holding the people creating it accountable.
Definitely,
I,
totally agree
I
with
think
that. Please
I'd
share
love
your.
to add a point to that,
Yeah.
to what Davana just said. That being said, one of the things that I personally, in a personal sense, in terms of future governance challenges, am fearful of is data privacy and the intentional malicious use of AI tools in things like identity theft or deep fakes or just using algorithm bias to like skew things towards one end versus the other. So that transparency there. And I just wanted to say 2 points to that, which is not only organizations, which is the normal discourse, but absolutely what you said, like individuals, we need to proactively develop this ethical AI mindset and self framework to understand that it's not just about industry leaders and policymakers, it's about data governance and ethical practices within self. So I think just to add that layer onto that.
Thank you for adding that. Does anyone want to add to that as well?
Yeah, I would just add that we control the tool, like what was being said, so we can use the tool to actually make us safer and secure. We have rings that use your heart rate and respiration for 3-factor authentication. So when I'm wearing this, I can verify my identity and people know who I am, not only in physical environments, but the digital twin version of me. You can challenge my identity and actually know that you're talking to the real version of me. And see, these things are going to be very, very important. You bring up a really important thing here. But we can use these tools. We can use AI to actually meet some of those challenges along with other technologies in concert with it. But there's a lot of different ways we can do cool things. Take it from a guy who's got microchips on my fingernails. We have ways to connect ourselves in beautiful ways if we just are creative and we maintain that childlike curiosity that Mike was saying that we lose from life just hitting us from every angle. We need to get back to playing. We need to get back to having fun, right? And retooling some of the time we're wasting arguing with each other about politics and all sorts of other stuff. We need to retool that behavior in a way that promotes us and not just money and, power and whatever. Right.
Yeah, definitely. That's a very nice conclusion on that. And fellow panelists, we could go on, and we have a lot of ground to cover. I want to thank each and every one of you for your expressions and your insights. As for our audience out there, please engage and follow our panelists. They are out there. Their information is on our website. You can follow them. You can talk with them, engage, and perhaps what knows what networks can come out of this. So our gather was well. Over to you, Christopher. I think I'm having a fireside coming up after this. So thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Some time.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.